we have a yeet cannon, and we have a threaded Glock. So let's put this to the test. Howdy folks, you're watching Deuce. Years and years ago, when HiPoint first announced their yeet cannon, I said to the world, if they build it, I will buy it. Because certain they would never build it. Well, they did, and I bought it. Now, I'm not doing a full review on this today, although it is looking pretty good. I've enjoyed shooting it, I will say that. But the cool thing is the fact that it is a blowback operated pistol. It's not a Browning pistol, it's a blowback operated pistol like all HiPoints are, but it's also threaded for a suppressor. On paper, when suppressed, a blowback action like this HiPoint should be louder than a Glock with a Browning tilting barrel action. So you put a suppressor on there, this should be louder than anything else out there that has a Glocking barrel. When you fire this pistol, which this is completely unloaded, there's no mag or anything, but when you fire this pistol, it will shoot the bullet down the barrel, but then the action, there is no locking here. The only reason why this does not explode out of the chamber is because of the weight and the spring, the extra recoil spring strength, and the weight of the slide itself, because this is a very heavy slide, very top heavy. So it lends itself to a very unusual recoil pattern when you're shooting it. A lot of people don't like it. Because of that, when you add a suppressor on end of this, it will cause more back pressure and cause the slide to open quicker and sooner than it was really designed to. This should be shooting out a lot more gas, a lot more pressure, a lot more of the initial explosion back out of the chamber and shooting that brass to Wyoming. I'm in Tennessee, by the way. So that's the idea. That's the mathematics behind it. But is that the way it happens in real life? Well, let's find out, because we have a suppressor, we have a yeet cannon, and we have a threaded Glock. So let's put this to the test. A quick headphone warning. I will not be lowering the volume on these shots like I normally do. Normally I lower the volume on the video during processing so then you don't blow your ears out when you got headphones on cranked to the max. But I'm not going to be doing that today. So make sure that you're at least aware that these shots are going to be louder than normal. Today, we're going to be shooting subsonic 147 grain full metal jacket 9mm. They're about right around 900 feet per second. First of all, a control with no suppressor. All right, today's suppressor is a Soundstrico Octane 45. So let's find out how quiet this is through a can. Actually, I'm going to take my ears off. I am that confident in the suppressor, but not so much in the pistol. So let's find out. Whew, that's pretty spicy. And now a Glock 34, the same ammo, 147 full metal jacket, 9mm with subsonic ammo. All right, there we go without the suppressor. I'm equally confident that this will be as quiet, if not quieter, than the HiPoint. So I got my ears off for this shot here. It is quieter. It is quieter. Now let's watch these back to back. And I've chosen the second round of each string of shots to eliminate any kind of first round pop scenario with suppressors. The first shot is a HiPoint and the second shot is the Glock. And you can really tell that the second shot is quite a bit quieter than the first shot. So that does show that the HiPoint is louder. And remember, we're using the exact same suppressor and the exact same ammo. Not by a lot though. I was expecting a lot more gas coming out, although I did feel more gas coming out of the HiPoint. That's the gas coming out of the chamber toward your face. Always wear your protective glasses while you're shooting suppressed, definitely, because you will get a face full of hot gas and unburnt and burnt powder. But it definitely was more evident with the HiPoint versus the Glock. The Glock just works because it's a Browning tilting barrel design. If you introduce a lot more back pressure into a Glock, it will stay locked until the pressure subsides and goes through the suppressor and out the suppressor slowly, versus just slamming back and shoving all that junk into your face like the HiPoint did. Although luckily the HiPoint has a side discharging chamber and not top. So in conclusion, is a suppressed yeet cannon louder than a suppressed Glock? Yes. And you also get more blowback out of the yeet cannon because it is a blowback action and just not conducive to suppressed firearms. If you show up to the range with your suppressed Glock, no one's gonna give a crap about that. These are a dime a dozen, which is fine. That's great and all. But the yeet cannon, if you show up to the range with a suppressed yeet cannon, you're gonna have a group around you and you're all gonna have a great time at the range, which is what you're supposed to be doing. Beautiful, perfect. The more astute viewers will be able to tell that the HiPoint in this string of shots is quieter than the Glock. The reason for that is because I left the Silencer Co. 45 suppressor on the Glock and I put the Silencer Co. 9mm suppressor on the HiPoint because I don't have two of the exact same suppressors. The reason I used a 45 caliber suppressor in the first place is because, number one, I could not quite trust the HiPoint threading. You know, if the threading is really off, it can damage your suppressor, but in this case, it was not. And the second reason is because I was thinking the 45 caliber suppressor would minimize the amount of gas blowback from the HiPoint, which I was correct. In this case, there was a lot more gas being blown back in my face with a 9mm suppressor versus the 45 caliber suppressor. So if you're going to suppress a HiPoint pistol, keep that in mind. Now that is a fun day at the range. Suppress yeet cannon. Can you beat it? Yes, but it's still hilarious. Well, guys, that's it for me today. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give me a like and go subscribe. A lot more on the range on the way. If you have any comments, questions, show ideas, leave that down in the comments down below. I'll try to answer as many of those as possible. And early questions will usually get a response from me right after you ask the question. I stay online pretty much for a couple of hours after I upload the video and let it go live. So make sure you put those questions in early, and I'll do my best to answer every single one of them. As always, you guys have a great day. See ya. Yeet!